But just because one officer does something bad, the misconception is that we're all bad, and that's just not true. That's not true. So I do everything within my power to kind of change that rhetoric that, hey, let the system deal with them, but don't do nothing that you shouldn't be doing in front of me, because I'm going to tell. Yeah, we're going to get it right. Because that, I guess, what is that saying? One bad apple ruins the whole barrel. I do not like that, because there are more good apples in that barrel than there are bad.
Alright everyone, welcome back to another video here at Middle School Career Readiness. Today is going to be for the Behind the Scenes of Public Safety podcast. Today we have another officer from San Antonio Police Department with us, so I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself.
Good morning. I am Officer Alonzio Hardin with the San Antonio Police Department. I've been on the department now for right at about 18 years. And I currently work in our, I would say it's called SAFE, which here in San Antonio, that stands for San Antonio Fear-Free Environment. And our main mission is to maintain, create, and just support our community engagement, our community involvement, not only with students such as y'all or yourself, but even community members, citizens that we protect and serve.
Okay. The first question here is, could you explain the department you work for, like how you like San Antonio Police Department? Explain a little bit about what San Antonio Police Department is.
San Antonio Police Department is a very large and made up of many different cultures, backgrounds. Our department, our manpower stands at just under 2,400 officers. We are, I believe, considered the 7th largest city. And so our department has a lot of working parts, I would say, compared to some of the smaller municipalities. So there's a wide range of jobs and units that you can take part in as a police officer here with the city of San Antonio. It is just a great place to work. The driving economy here in San Antonio, I would say, is tourism. So in order for our city to attract tourists, there definitely has to be a communication that this is a safe place to bring your family and enjoy a great time in our great city.
Okay. Could you, I know all the other officers, they just said patrol officer for this question, but could you explain your rank, how many years you've been in the department, and if you are a higher rank, how you got to that rank?
Well, I am still to this day considered a patrolman, but I'm in a specialized unit. Everyone on our department has the opportunity to promote up should they wish to do so. And that would involve taking what is called a civil service exam, and you will be tested amongst or along with other patrolmen let's say to go to detective. And once you're a detective and you stay there whatever length of time, you have the opportunity to test for sergeant and so on. Myself, I enjoy um, the opportunities that this department has afforded me. I started out as a patrolman, and basically, real quickly, patrolmen are those that are they are out there. They're taking the 911 calls. They're the ones that are showing up at the house to find solutions for whatever the reasons that they are called out there for. I had a about a 5 year stint with our traffic division. I learned a lot. It wasn't just solely about writing traffic tickets. And no, we do not have a quota. But I did get a chance to meet a lot of people doing that. And again, with tourism, part of our traffic detail is we do a lot of let's say, assisting the crowds with movement in our downtown area. And believe it or not, working in an intersection, ensuring that people cross the street safely provides an opportunity to have a lot of conversation with people from all over the world. And so I really enjoyed that. And then I was able to transfer to another unit. You have to put in for it. You have to go through an interview, and there's other folks that are interviewing for that job. So your work ethic, everything that reflects who you are as an officer plays an important role in you being selected to go to a specialized unit per se. And so that is where I am at now, working on what is called the east side of San Antonio as a safe officer, and I love it.
What inspired you to become a police officer?
Well, that's a very good question. And it's a good question because I'll be totally transparent. When I was a young boy, and police officers or adults, and still today they go around and they ask young kids, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, a police officer was the last thing on my mind about becoming a police officer. But as life has it, once I graduated high school, I joined the United States Army. I traveled uh, to many different countries, saw a lot of different cultures. And towards the end of my career in the military, um, I got a chance to be a part of a unit where I did what was called in service retention, mainly keeping off soldiers in the military. But I also got to get a brief exposure of law because I did have to write packets up on, even in the military, there are disciplinary things. And so that gave me a little bit of an insight on law enforcement. And so when I came back home, I had some friends that did stay here in San Antonio, and they said, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. And so um, on a more in-depth side of things, I said, as a young boy, I never thought of being a police officer, but after serving in the United States Army and then coming back home, I said, I really want to be a part of something that is about change. And so the police department was there, and it presented an opportunity for me to still serve. I truly believe I have a servant's heart, but I also got an opportunity to get a job. I needed a job, and it allowed me to be in the community. And as of today, I actually patrol or a community representative of the police department in the very area that I grew up in.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. because I have, I guess, a homegrown connection. And so when I get an opportunity to deal with youth or deal with folks that I even grew up with from a law enforcement side to try to do my best to represent that, hey, we are truly here for you. And it's just been great. So, what inspired me was just the fact that it gave me an ability to uh, be a difference maker in my community. And that's where I'm at today.
What what does a typical day look like for you in your particular position?
In my particular position, I am considered a school service officer. Um, Unlike in maybe in your school or because laws have changed across the nation, schools are pretty much required to have law enforcement present. The beauty of my job is that I'm still part of the San Antonio Police Department, but I am grateful to have the opportunity to go to any school that I want to in the area that I work, whether it's elementary, middle school, high school, charter schools. I've even visited some kids that were considered homeschool. And so my specific job where I'm at is to, again, strengthen that relationship between youth, the parents, staff, students, and the like. So it's a great opportunity for me as a police officer to engage with the community. I just love it. Love it.
What would you say is some of the most challenging aspects or the most challenging aspect of your job as a police officer?
I would say because I work with so much youth, one of the challenges that I see on a daily basis is to get our youth to understand that it is very important what you decide to expose yourself to. Because I feel very deeply that it was me being exposed to the right people, the right things that led me to see things. 18 years old, I'm in Europe, not in an environment where I saw violence, I saw crime, and allow that to be the norm
Mm,
because I see it and I think that that's just the way that things are supposed to be. So the challenge is uh, challenging our youth to understand that life is what you make it. And if you surround yourself with negative, you're probably going to get negative consequences. But if you surround yourself with positive, you're going to get positive consequences. Because at the end of the day, as individuals, we write our own story, and everybody has a story. Um, but we are the author of what it is that we want out of life. And so that challenge is just to see that, uh, to get the youth to understand, hey, you can do and be whatever it is that you want to be. Just go do it.
mm, okay. Uh, could you explain the training that you went to or that you went through to become a police officer or even specialized training you had to go through to get to this particular unit?
Wow. Well, just to become a police officer in general, San Antonio Police Department has an academy. It is accredited. It lasts roughly about 8 months. Uh, I say this, I stand alone when I say this, is that I felt that I almost took a bar exam basically because during during this police academy, you learn so many laws in such a short period of time, whether it's family law, traffic law, how to deal with mental health, um, and tactical training as far as how to approach abandoned buildings, how to approach different scenarios. Because on any given day, you as a police officer will see a wide variety of circumstances that, if not with the proper training, um, you may not have the solutions or the ability to solve a problem that you did not create. So I'm very thankful for the training that I've received and the continued training that we have the ability to access in this department. It's a lot of opportunity to grow, not only as a police officer, but just as an individual, just
Mhm.
as an individual, you know. So again, I'm thankful that I became a part of this department.
How would you say that the role of policing has evolved since you first started to modern day?
Man, you got some great questions. So, well, I have to say that growing up in my area, and you know how they got all this Gen Z, Gen X, whatever, the most impactful change that I've seen in policing is one that is the information age, meaning the technology, the way that we write reports now. When I first came on, everything was handwritten. Even if I arrived on the scene and it was just a minor accident or a major accident, we physically had to draw stuff and write our report. So it was time consuming, but now with all the web based, our accident reports are now web based, we generated. You got all these drop down arrows, and the ease of access to information on individuals that we come across on a daily basis. Um, I think the way that technology has advanced has caused policing to change in the way that we approach situations. Um, Instead of just maybe crashing into the door, now we have a unit that's called Raven. If we have to utilize the drone, I would have never thought that put something in the air and it can give us a quick assessment of what it is that we're dealing with. But when in fact it's it's providing a safer encounter for the police officers that are involved, even for the folks that are involved in any given situation. So I would say the the difference between then and now is our ability at the press of a keyboard, or or you know, the information is readily available,
Mhm.
and that has changed uh, a lot in policing.
What is, would you share a memorable moment from your career as a police officer?
Wow, I have quite a few. I'll just have to select one. Most memorable. Um, I just select one that comes to mind, and it is hopefully I can highlight the importance of having that relationship, and again, why I really love the position that I'm in, which affords me the opportunity to make those relationships. So, a quick scenario, a young girl came up missing from school. And of course, when we go to friends, and that's one of the immediate things that we do is to try to gather all the information that we can. Well, in doing so, I had a chance to talk to the principal, who also had a relationship with the students. And we were not able, on the police side of things, to find any leads that was really concrete, that was like really just it's going to put us in the right direction. Well, because this principal had a particular relationship with her students, she was able to contact this young lady when previously she just became isolated. She didn't talk to anyone, but because of the relationship that that principal had, we were able to get a lead, a good lead. And in following up on that information, we were able to find this young lady. And it was it was so rewarding because, again, it just reminded me of how important it is to have relationships and do that networking. And we found her safe. Of course, she was a little surprised, but just because of the relationship um, that that principal had with her students and specifically with this young lady, we were able to return her home. So that's just one of them. If I think about it and write them down, I've had, I would, I can honestly say that I've had more positive interactions with people in the community than negative. Unlike what some social media platforms try to portray. But as an officer, boots on the ground, uh, my experiences with the people in this community have been awesome, very rewarding. It's it's a good feeling when you as an officer can take off this uniform and let's say you're in Walmart and a kid, a parent, or someone recognizes you, the human side of you. Like, you should be out there working in the streets, not here in Walmart, you know. So it's a good feeling that they can appreciate the human side of us. We don't wear these uniforms all the time. We go to Walmart, we go to Whataburger, we have family, I have grandchildren, you know, and to experience that relationship, that camaraderie. Oh, hey, that's Officer Hardin. He came to my school last week. It's just a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is a misconception or a common misconception that people have about police officers, what police officers do, or the police force in general?
I would say that, for one, every day that we wake up, a police officer must possess a mental fortitude that, hey, on this day that you're going to do your job may very well be the last day. As an officer, I think it's important to understand that not everybody likes the police. And I
Hmm.
get it. When you look at the history of policing from then to today, even current situations. Uh, but hey, I know, and most police officers don't wake up with a list of people that we are going to go and have an encounter with. We do these things because civil order or laws have been broken. So we get called and we must go. And so one of the misconceptions is, I think, is that we wake up with the intent of ruining someone's day. and that's not it at all. Um, and the other misconception is I I am I am not at all going to sit here and say that everyone that is wearing a badge that their motives are correct. Because I'll tell you this: if I see any inappropriate behavior in my view, and in any interactions that I am involved in, you can best believe we're going to have a conversation.
Mhm.
Because here's the bad part about it. Here's the misconception again, that on these social media platforms, you may see the behavior of officers that are unbecoming, that do not really respect the integrity and the honor that should be uh, exhibited when wearing this uniform. But just because one officer does something bad, the misconception is that we're all bad, and
Mhm.
that's just not true. That's not true.
Mhm.
So I do everything within my power to kind of change that rhetoric. That hey, let the system deal with them, and but don't do nothing that you shouldn't be doing in front of me, because I'm gonna tell. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna get it right. Because that, I guess, what is that saying? One bad apple ruins the whole barrel. Uh,
Mhm.
I I do not like that, because there are more good apples in that barrel than there are bad.
Okay. How would you say that you build trust and relationships with the community that you serve?
You have to go out there and talk to people. It doesn't always have to be a negative encounter. Uh, I always encourage up and coming officers, because this is what was passed on to me. Uh, any opportunity that you have when you're driving around the neighborhood, or you find yourself at a strip center, maybe you just handled a call. Once you complete that call, go and talk to people. Again, uh, they used to think I was a little off because I would park my patrol car and go inside places like Walmart or Target, and walk around and talk to people. You know, allow them to see the human again in you, that just because I have on this uniform and I approach you and have a conversation with you, it's not always an investigation. I just want to know how you're doing. And then, which usually leads to good conversation. They even may share some things that may be going on in their life, uh, and especially with the youth, you know. Um, Building that trust is so important, because um, if they have the trust and faith and belief in you as an officer, man, that relationship is just awesome. And how do you do that? You just continue not only to do your job, but be totally transparent, be honest, and listen. Listening is very important in building trust. And it can be very easy to be misunderstood as coming off as judgmental because you wear this uniform. Like, oh, okay, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Life is life. Um, Not everybody makes good decisions, but that don't mean that it's over, that it's ruined. So if I can take the opportunity to give some solutions, give some recommendations, uh, you only can do that if you have conversations with people. Be approachable. And so there are many different ways and things that can be done in the communities to strengthen that relationship, to build that trust, and you know just the friendship, just basic
Mhm.
friendship, you know, in the community.
Okay. Um, how would you say you mentioned the technology earlier on? But how has the role of technology evolved over time into modern day policing?
Well, technology has opened the door of, I guess, what some would consider data-driven uh, information that allows us to do a better job. Uh, to maybe it allows us to really hone in on.
Over time?
Yeah, we were talking about data-driven information that allows us to be more effective and isolate problem areas, not so much having to do a little bit of the surveillance or a lot of the surveillance, but we can take data driven information and pick out problem areas. For example, here in San Antonio, we've partnered with the University of Texas at San Antonio. Um, Based on data, they've created what is called hotspots. So this project um, basically dispatches police officers or specialized units to areas based on data that has a high rise in crime or just calls to the police. So with information like that, we can be specific with the hours that calls are elevated, um, the time of day, and like I said, the locations. And generally, well, so far in like in our area, been a lot of hotels, um, certain neighborhoods. Again, based on data, we're able to be specific in areas that we are patrolling. Another example of modern day technology, something as simple as maybe speeders in the neighborhood or speeders on a particular uh, part of the roadway in the city. We have these trailers that are radar trailers, and we're able to take the data that it is recording. Let's say if we leave it out there for a week, this data again will assist us with maybe enforcement times instead of just kind of haphazardly pulling the time out of the air. But this data provides, like, hey, between 3 and 5 o'clock, you do have a lot of speeders. So let's put a patrol officer out there to be more of a deterrent, but yet enforce traffic laws if need be. But again, because of the data that we're able to record from these pieces of equipment, it it just fine tunes our ability to police.
Okay. Um, how do you balance enforcing the law with also community outreach and engagement?
Well, that is always going to be a line in the sand because if a law is broken, that's why police officers are there to enforce the law. That does not always, the result of that does not always mean someone is hauled off to jail or anything like that. Sometimes, speaking to the community engagement side of it, especially dealing with our youth, if it's a behavior that we can pretty much kind of have a conversation about, um, then do so. But there again, there's that fine line um, of enforcing and when not to enforce, um, depending upon the circumstances. Because one of the greatest, I think, tools that we have in our tool bag is discretion. Um, you know, just because Joseph and Johnny are out there in their new car that their grandparents or parents just purchased them and they might be doing a little excessive speeding, that might be an opportunity to discuss the effects of their behavior, how it could impact. other people and not just them. And it just depends on the situation. If it allows you to be one more of a educator, mentor, or the like, um, it's important to be able to take that opportunity. But depending upon the severity and the circumstances, law's the law, and that's our main job is to make sure that law is upheld. Because without law, you would have chaos.
Okay. Um, the next question is, could you talk about a time or what de-escalation tactics are and a time where you used them and it made a difference in the situation?
Um, there was a time when I was on patrol, and these are things that just popping in my head. Trust me, there's quite a few that race across, but this one it raced across and it stopped. Uh, De-escalation is important uh, because the energy that one may give off to a police officer, it can be easily reciprocated. Uh, However, we're there for a solution. And so if I give back the same energy that's given to me, in many cases, that will keep that temperature gauge high. So being able to utilize your communication skills, verbal skills, or whatever to de escalate and again listen to what it is that you're dealing with, because a lot of times, and most of the times, we don't have the full background of information about what it is that we're dealing with. So when the officer arrives on the scene, um, first thing that must be uh, conducted is listening, trying to find out what it is, and then utilizing that bit of information to de-escalate if possible. Now, there are some situations that just cannot be de-escalated because some people um, may just be at that breaking point and spending an excessive amount of time while balancing the safety of not only the officer but the people that may be around that situation. um, Sometimes you just have to do your job, and if that means that you have to end this situation, you have to just do so in the best that your training and ability allows you to do so. Um, but half the time, if you just talk, it works. It works. So, but what I was going to give an example of, and again, kind of piggybacking on the reason why it's important to have relationships. I had an incident where this young individual was a mental health consumer, and I had been over his house several times, and we built a relationship. Uh, his mom knew me, and the other officer, I had a district partner. We would always go over there. Um, but this particular day, we were away, probably answering another call. I can't remember exactly what it was, but heard it over the radio and I recognized the address. So, boom, we take off and we go over there, and it was actually EMS in trouble. They were there to assist because this individual was, we learned later that he had got off of his medication. And of course, uh, we understand that at times when mental health consumers are off their meds, then they're mental culpability, you know, might not be what is needed. Um, so he was just going off on all the EMTs, the fire department that was there. They were there trying to assist him do their job, but he was kicking and beating and scratching and fighting. And so we raced over there. We got there, and as soon as I got to the front door, the door was open and we're walking in. His mother saw me and she was like, "Oh, hey, Officer Hardin, can you come in here and you help?" Well, of course, those that have not been there were pretty frantic and just were not really understanding uh, the situation, but it was just incredible when we walked around to his room. And mind you, at this point, after assaulting the firemen and ambulance people that were there, he was actually in his room. And if you can envision, he had two machetes at his chin, the tip of the machetes. And he was contemplating seriously hurting himself. But when we hit that corner, as we walked down the hallway and we hit the corner to the door of his room and he saw us, it was like it just became so peaceful. He put the machetes down, he allowed us to approach him, and we had a conversation. And I truly, truly believe that that happened because of the previous times that we were there and because of our training and understanding of mental health. The situation took a turn for the good,
Mhm.
because it could have went a totally different way. Uh, so yeah, it's important to have those relationships in the community because uh, you might see the same people 3 or 4 times a month, and if you have that relationship and you treat people as humans, regardless of a mental health, regardless of family violence, regardless of income level, um, whether that be below poverty or above, you still got to treat people like people.
Okay. Um, so the next question is here is how do or could you explain the work dynamics between police officers and other emergency responders like paramedics and firefighters?
Well, firefighters go into buildings on fire. I never want to do that. At the same time, I'm sure there's some firefighters that would say, "Hey, I don't want to go into this abandoned building. It's dark. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't know what's in there." Uh, our jobs are definitely uh, different in many ways, but at the same time, we work together. It's important that we work together. Um, there's been a lot of training, unfortunately, in the time frame that we live in today, and I'm sure that you guys have seen the uptick in school shootings and things of that nature, or even if it's just a incident, uh, let's just say involving a gun in the community, you
Mhm.
know, EMS will not, at least here in San Antonio, um, they will not go into that area until it's secured. So
Mhm.
that's why I say we work hand in hand, um, because we go in and we minimize or neutralize the threat or do our best to make that scene safe. And then here comes your paramedics, fire to do their training. That's a lot more advanced than, you know, what most officers are capable of doing. And so it's important to have that relationship with other uh, professionals um, that are outside of law enforcement. So that's key. That's key.
Okay. The next question is, uh, could you explain what I know the other officers talked about what more of the patrol cars look like. As a safe officer, could you sort of explain what your particular patrol car looks like, what some of the equipment you carry in your car looks like?
Well, my patrol car is very similar to theirs. Um, Department wide, the typical black and white, and depending upon what certifications you have, and they may have shared this, whether you carry a shotgun or a rifle. The majority of our department, because it's pretty been, I think I can safely say it's been mandatory that officers go through what is called a crisis intervention training, which the majority of the officers, whether you're in a specialized unit or not, will have a taser. But the only way that you can have that taser, it's not like you just walk to the armory and say, "Hey, give me a taser." You must complete continued education in mental health, and along with training for that taser. What my car looks like exactly on the inside, my car is full of stuffed animals, basketballs, stickers, um, sometimes even bicycles. Because again, I'm in the schools. And so we have what down here we call is career days. So my vehicle may even be used for um, maybe a round robin type introduction to where I share the daily duties, not just for myself, but what police officers do. So I could have kids crawling through my patrol car, they're jumping on the PA system, uh, trying to take some of the gifts that I have in the back because I get the privilege of traveling with a bunch of goodies, or swag as we call it. And so that's not atypical of most of the patrolmen and police officers in their cars. They may have, the flares and shotguns, or the ARs or the radars. Um, I don't. I just bring joy and peace to the schools. Bring fun. Like, oh yeah, there he is. I know he's got stickers.
Um, the next question is what does the equipment that you carry like on your person look like?
Um, Standard. Of course, we do have our weapon. Um, our department transitioned to a Smith and Wesson 9 millimeter. We also carry uh, a minimal of two additional magazines, um, and then set of handcuffs. Myself as a taser, I don't use. Some officers may have what could be understood as pepper spray. I don't carry that. I've never had any luck with that. A couple of times that I use it, I mean, because you got to be concerned about the wind and which way it's blowing, and you may be trying to utilize it for the situation that you're in, and you may be exposing yourself. So I don't care. I've had too many bad experiences with that. Um, and then what else? Oh, and then obviously the radio. It's the way that we communicate with each other and keep abreast of what's going on around us. But other than that, that's what I have. But again, that could vary from officer to officer, and depending upon what unit it is that you're working in, you may have other stuff. And the only other thing I have is what we call as a go bag. And a go bag is basically a bag that you may have extra paperwork. You may have information leaflets, as far as me, information leaflets or additional pins, because I must say that this is the only job that I've ever had that I actually run out of ink with a pen.
Mm,
So I keep extra pens. And then, I keep, because on my job too, again, we work in the community. We do a lot of work with homeless. So we have these containers, um, these cylinder containers, and basically we use them if we're out there in these homeless camps. We come across needles and the like. We're able to remove them from the location and place them in a proper container. Um, so yeah, that's it.
okay. Uh, let's see here. The next question is, what kind of first aid training do you receive as a police officer?
Well, initially, when you do graduate, it is very basic in the sense of you will be taught how to place a tourniquet. You will be taught how to stop the bleeding. You will be taught how to perform CPR. Um, but another great thing about our department is on the continued education side. We have officers that go through what is called a TAC med, and they get advanced training. Uh,
Hmm.
they actually, if they're on site and a TAC med, the type of schooling that they go through, not only is it intense, but it is a great resource to have out there in the field because data when officers are involved in shootings and things of that nature, most of the reason that they have lost a life is because they've bled out, because no one around them is trained to that level. Um, and that's on the flip side of helping the citizens too. Um, if after an incident, I don't know, for example, an individual crashes out or something like that, and they, they experience severe bodily injury, you know, it's it's a good thing that the police officers have a basic knowledge of first aid. Um, but we're not doctors, but at least a basic
Hmm.
knowledge of first aid, how to stop the bleed, how to place a tourniquet, how to assist until the proper EMS or fire arrives on the scene, or a TAC med that we have throughout our department can come on the scene and assist.
Next question is, could you tell us about uh, the most dangerous or the most stressful call or case that you had as a police officer?
There is, I would say, a level of danger and concern on every call because I would also say we only have an idea of the environment that we are approaching. We don't have all the information. I mean, if we did, we could probably settle it over the phone. Um, but I've personally, I've been involved in what is called officer involved shootings. Again, what I mentioned earlier, uh, an officer must possess a mental fortitude and understanding that every day that you put on this uniform, and I do apologize, I took off my top. but every day that you put on this uniform, it could very well be your last. And with that being said, your approach, I would suggest that every officer approach every call not as a routine call, but a call that can go from 0 to 100 very quickly. So one must always be aware of their surroundings and the situations at hand that could, you know, turn it from something simple into a fiasco. So you've always got to maintain that mental readiness and take care of your body. Gotta be physically fit. But I do eat tacos.
Next,
Not
the
not
next,
donuts. That's a misconception.
yes, one of the other officers mentioned that as well.
Yeah, we eat tacos down here in San Antonio. Yeah, we don't do donuts.
Um, the next question is, in your own words, could you describe the mission of San Antonio Police Department?
The mission of San Antonio Police Department is to maintain safety, law and order, and in doing so, we do that by again building relationships, um, having programs that invite our community to come and see. We have a COP program, which is Citizens of Police, where our civilians can actually, or community members can come in and take a course and see exactly what it's like to be a police officer. Um, Engaging with our youth, we have what we call a PSC program, and that's a public safety cadre where we open the doors to our youth starting at age 14, and they can participate at any substation throughout our city every Tuesday from about 5 to 7 o'clock. We do physical fitness with them. We actually take them out to compete with other law enforcement agencies. Um, but our main mission, we stand on integrity. There's four pillars: integrity, compassion. But the main thing is we want the people of San Antonio to know that our city is safe.
Okay. The next one is, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in pursuing a career in law enforcement?
Um, know that it is something that you really want to do. Look at all the possibilities. Um, I would encourage anybody that want to start in law enforcement, hey, start at the top, go feds, go down all the way to local law enforcement. It is a great career. Um, you do not need to have a criminal justice um, background as far as a degree or whatever. Our department, one of my friends, he has a bachelor's in biology, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, but there has to be some sort of passion and drive within each individual. And don't be afraid that if you find yourself leaning towards this career and you're moving towards it and you get to a point and you're saying, yeah, you know what? This really isn't for me, because I do see a lot of nepotism where, uh, at least on our department, there's a lot of family legacies. My grandpa did it, my dad did it, my mom did it. You know, don't let that pressure you, but it's honorable. It is honorable, but at the same time, um, take into consideration that you will be able to see people at their highest of highs and their lowest of lows. And don't let social media uh, change your mind. Because again, like I said earlier, you as an individual are the difference maker. And this is a career that I have grown to just love. I go on vacations, I can live a very comfortable and good life as a police officer. And if it's something that you want to do, go for it. Just go for it and expose yourself to it as much as you can. And what I mean by expose yourself, I mentioned the PSC. We also do ride alongs here. I don't know if in the area where you live that is an opportunity where you can go out and ride with an officer and just see and take advantage of any opportunity. If they have a volunteer, we have a thing called volunteers in policing. Um, we have parades where and things of that. There are many other things that allow our citizens to be exposed to uh, law enforcement. So if you're thinking about it, while you have the opportunity, expose yourself to it as much as possible.
Okay. If someone is watching this and they're in the area and they want to join San Antonio Police Department, how would they do so?
Send me an email, alonzio.hardin at sanantonio.gov. No, seriously. We do have a website, SAPD Careers. And what's also beautiful about that website, it gives you a snapshot of expectations. So again, SAPD dot com. Go on there, check it out. And again, look at the totality of things. Policing is policing, but be concerned about benefits, pay, and not just pay, but what is my life going to look at once I retire? What is it going to look like after working for this particular department for X amount of years, at least 20 plus years? What does the pension look like? What the 401k look like? What is my lifestyle going to be once my policing career is over? And then what are the opportunities that the department offers as far as avenues, different avenues. You might be a science person and you want to be in forensics, or you might want to be a cybercrime type of individual and you can be a part of, like, our department. We have intelligence. So to take a look at our department, sapdcareers.com. And I'm serious. If you're watching this, I know Mr. Rucker here knows how to get in contact with me. He has his email. I would entertain any questions uh, dealing with law enforcement or just our department in general of how to join our department. The process is a lot faster now than when I came on board. It took me almost a year to get on, and now they have streamlined that because of technology. Yeah, give us a shout out here down in San Antonio. We actually have a lot of officers that are from the Rio Grande Valley area, down in the valley, that have come up and joined our department.
The last question we have is before we end, do you have any questions for me?
So I do. What made you do this? Or tell me a little bit about what is this, the middle school readiness?
The channel's Middle School Career Readiness. Um, its its goal is to help or to encourage middle school and high school students or adults who are looking for careers in public safety, that being fire, EMS, police, military dispatch, and to encourage them to go into those careers, to show them what it looks like in those careers, how they can join those careers, and what their life would look like in those careers. And why I decided to start it is I've always known that I want to go into some sort of public safety career. Um, and I have planned out what I want to do for the future. I'm not sure if it's gonna uh pan out exactly like that. Um, but it started as a school project where we had to interview someone from a career that we wanted to go into and make that into a presentation. And so if you look at uh, our very first interview on this channel was with two people from Austin Fire Department. Um, and that it just snowballed from there into now making all of these different videos, all of these different interviews to help people who want to join these careers.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah. I just said yes when it came across my email. I was like, okay, just tell me where to be, what I got to do. So this is awesome. I enjoyed it. Um, if there's anything that I can do in the future, in the near future or the late future,
Mhm.
please contact me.
All right, thank you very much for doing this interview. For those of you watching, this was season 2, episode 3 of Behind the Scenes of Public Safety, which is a podcast here at Middle School Career Readiness. This was Officer Hardin from San Antonio Police Department. Thank you for coming out to do this interview. I want to say thank you as well to the San Antonio Police Department PIO and the Community Engagement Division for helping set this interview up. If you're watching and you haven't already watched the interview yesterday with 3 other San Antonio Police Department officers, make sure to go check that out. And if you would like to donate to help us make more videos like this possible or get more in-person interviews done, you can check out the Cash App link, which will be in the description of this video as well as the channel description. And then check out our Refuge Medical link that gives you 10% off your complete order, and it also helps us here make